hold my tongue never. I say what I feel, look you in the eye, never ran, never will. Hold my own destiny, both hands on the wheel. In the darkness they found light, so at the top of your lungs scream, this ain't life. So when they move left, you move right, you move right. Hold my tongue never, I say what I feel, look you in the eye, never ran, never will. Hold my own destiny, both hands on the wheel.
All right. Well, hey, good evening to all of our listeners. We're starting to get some subscribers. We're starting to get some views, so we do like that. We thank you. We appreciate that. Anybody new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Watch all the videos as they come out. We're working on numerous topics here, but usually they pertain to everyday. The best way to say it. Let's just go back to the 1 hour car ride. Sometimes you learn something new. Sometimes you have fun. Tonight, we're going to learn something extremely important. We're going to talk to Brian Moretz, who has Impact Defense. I'll let him go over all of his platforms and give us a little more detail on that. But he is very big into self-defense and all the things that go along with it. And he's here going to shed some light on some things for us, and then we're going to have some fun with the talk. So with that being said, welcome to the show this evening, Brian. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Thanks for asking. So, bringing you on here, I think we're going to be probably in the, somewhere between 50 and 20 episodes by the time we put yours out.
Okay.
But you've got me beat. So you just, you hit 100 episodes. So congratulations. And
thank you.
Tell me a little bit about your podcast, your platform, and what it is you're doing on a daily basis, I guess.
Well, it kind of all got started. My primary second at our school, we were talking, and she helps me out a lot during a lot of seminars and stuff like that. And we were talking about the fact that we would like to get more information out there to people. And so it just started with us just sitting down and kind of just having conversations about self-defense and ways people can stay safer. And it's lasted 2 years, and I'm kind of shocked that it's lasted 2 years, but yeah.
So in the 2 years, you've done 100 episodes alone.
Yes.
But that's impressive. But then also you do all the videos and everything, right?
Oh yeah. We do a lot of videos for YouTube, and those generally go out to Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. We're everywhere.
So, you guys talked about it, you got the idea, but do you have a background in this? Is that how it allowed you?
Oh, absolutely. So for me personally, I started in 2000, actually, January of 2000. I'd always loved martial arts. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world when I was a kid. And we just couldn't. When I was a kid, I think my mom was scared to put me in there because somebody scared her to death, thinking I was just going to get beat up and broken and everything else. So
it was a big unknown back then.
Yeah. So I got married, and a month after I got married, I looked at my wife. I said, "Hey, I've always wanted to do martial arts. I'm going to go over here and start taking martial arts. Is that cool?"
So you got a late start, but hey, you did what you wanted to do, right?
Yeah, I got married pretty young. I was 19 when I got married, so 19 when I got started in martial arts. Started out traditional martial arts, and then that kind of fueled over to I wanted to fight. Man, I enjoyed martial arts and everything, so I started fighting. Did some mixed martial arts and kickboxing and stuff like that. And for some reason, my wife did not really enjoy watching me jump into a cage and fight another dude. So, yeah, win or lose, she didn't like seeing it. So. Eventually she kind of talked me out of it. And as I was looking around, I had a full-time job. I had a martial arts school that I was running. I had a daughter. And I thought, well, yeah, maybe it's, and I was 29 years old.
Yeah.
So but after that, I moved into doing self-defense and combatives and stuff like that. So I started doing
it has to be, what's the word I'm looking for there? My long pauses, I'll definitely cut out the show. I'm sorry to do this. I'm drawing
no,
a
you're
blank
fine.
word, but it has to make you feel proud, I guess would be a way to say it, that you're helping people,
Yeah. And she knew she knew me and she knew my heart. So when I said, "Hey, I'm thinking about getting into this reality-based self-defense stuff," she was like, "Yes, please go for that."
Yeah.
So,
So I guess I definitely want to make that a big portion of the show. But, you know, being that you said you fought for a while, I have to ask some questions on that.
okay.
Being that you did a couple different, did you ever box or did you just do kickboxing and martial and MMA?
So I started out in mixed martial arts.
Okay.
That was kind of the first. I watched UFC 1. You know, I loved those things. So when I had the opportunity, I started off fighting mixed martial arts. After I did that for a while, I did get offered a professional boxing debut, and I ended up turning it down because that was right at that time where I said, you know what, I think I'm just going to walk away. It's from fighting and everything. So I had a few offers on the table, and I just decided it was time to probably quit.
So I guess where I was going to go with that, you know, it being that you've done the different things, even if they're practice or, you know, whatever you call scrimmage fights, but kickboxing, boxing, UFC, which one hurts the most?
Well, you know, there's something about being on the ground and some dude sitting on top of you punching you in the face that I think is just kind of emotionally hurting. So
I mean, they do say it's the safest of those.
It really, yeah, and I agree with that 100%. I absolutely agree with that. But
I mean, I guess it's because it's so quick. It's not, you know, as much on your brain. Is that why they say it's safer?
Yeah. See, basically the idea is that when you get hit, you get dropped, and you have that time to allow yourself to stand back up and kind of get your sense about you. Your brain is already concussed. It's already, you know, you're injured already. And then you hop back in there and you get hit again. And it's just like, it's injury on top of injury on top of injury to your brain. Whereas at least with MMA, man, you get hit, dropped, and they jump on top of you, start punching you in the face. It's over.
You can't, your brain can't swell up over the 12 rounds of boxing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh man. Did you ever have any injuries when you were fighting? I mean, injuries, yes, but like any serious injuries?
No, nothing too serious. I guess the worst thing was just a broken nose. So I fought. I fought in a few smaller shows, and I did real well. I got picked up by a larger organization in our state, and when I went in my very first fight with them, I went in, and the very first punch of the fight, I got my nose broke. So that was kind of not the way I wanted to start. This fight didn't last but about a minute and a half. I did end up winning. I choked the guy out, but I mean,
it woke you up pretty quick though.
Yeah, it was a lot of blood. So
now that you've kind of moved away from that stuff, I mean, still, yeah, I'm training. Do you spar and stuff and training?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Are you training others, or are you kind of focused on the self-defense stuff now?
I've got a few guys that kind of want to fight. I did when I stopped fighting, I did train some other guys for a while. But there's something about, honestly, I'm a competitor at heart for that kind of stuff. So it really, really drives me crazy that I can't be the one in the ring because I'm just like really super competitive. And there's something I don't get into coaching as much as I get into actually fighting. Now I like working with them. I mean, as far as now, let me back that up. Cornering in the ring, to me, that is the thing that I'm not as into. Now I love coaching and I love teaching. I love all of that. But when it comes time to your actual fight time, it absolutely drives me crazy that I can't get in there and do the fighting for them. So it's just, I don't know. I'm weird.
No, that's fine. I mean, everybody has their preferences. You know, if you're right there, you'd rather be the one doing it instead of watching your person get hurt too. So I guess now that you've kind of moved into this realm, are you doing anything live, or are you doing most everything through like the platforms that you have, like with Impact Defense?
We actually still do most live.
Okay.
Yeah, so we are teaching. I'm teaching self-defense seminars. We go around where we do abduction prevention stuff. So we'll work with different organizations and stuff. We'll have people bring us out. We'll go teach, like I said, abduction prevention. We teach women's self-defense. We have this one thing we call Defender. It's 20 hours over 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And we are doing everything from your mental preparation for self-defense to physical, striking, grappling, all the way down to knives and blunt force and firearms.
Are you traveling at all yet, or are you doing it mostly in your home area?
I've done some traveling. We don't travel really big. We are in North Carolina, and we have things around North Carolina. We go to Virginia. I'll teach in Virginia, and I'll go down to South Carolina and teach in South Carolina. But usually we stay in these 3 states.
Okay. So I guess, leading up to, any of the audience that watches, or, maybe people that come for you and watch the show, but like, I don't want to steal like your thunder or anything over at your platform, but like, can you like break down some basics maybe for audience members to kind of, the basics of self-defense, where you can start, and then, maybe how you can help people that maybe come over to your platform?
Yeah, absolutely. I love doing that. I actually just finished up teaching a private lesson with a family. And that's kind of what we were doing, is a lot of the basic stuff. So, the number one thing, and everybody says it, and I know it's true, but still, the number one thing is awareness, paying attention to the things that are going on around you. There's this thing called Cooper's Color Code.
Okay. And hear about that.
Yeah, it's basically 5 colors. I think Jeff Cooper actually only originally had 4, but somebody added in the 5th one, and we really liked it, so we stuck with it. But at first level is white. And that is when you are completely and totally unaware of anything that's going on around you. You're just completely in la la land. What happens a lot of times we see is people walking around Walmart or somewhere with a phone in their hand, and they're just paying attention to that phone. Yeah. Or somebody's just off in their own head or whatever. Next would be yellow. And yellow is just a state of awareness, just a basic state of knowing what's going on around you.
Okay.
Paying attention to people and things that are going on. And that's basically where, if you're out in public, you should be in a yellow awareness kind of state of mind.
So like you said, we called the first stage white, correct?
Right, correct.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, you say walking around on your phone, not paying attention. I mean, that's more often than people would like to think, because looking back on it, I've thought about times today where that was me.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and I tell everybody when we're teaching seminars and stuff like this, we're going over this kind of stuff in seminars. I'll tell everybody straight up, it happens to everybody. I don't care. This is what I do for a living, and this is all that I do. And it's all that I have done for the last, 5, no, it's longer than that, man, 7 years probably.
Right.
But still yet, I'll be walking into some store and I'll get a text or something, and I'll pick that phone up and and my wife will elbow me and she says, "You teach this. Why are you doing this?" And I was like, yeah, it's habit, man. We all screw up with that.
You can't let your students see you out there in public.
I know, that's the truth. Believe me. And actually I teach this enough where sometimes if a student, I have to be really careful, because if a student sees me somewhere, adults or kids alike, man, they don't mind coming up and say, "Hey, were you paying attention? Did you see me before I got to you?"
Sure. Yeah, because that makes your whole everything you just taught them. Hey, go out the window for me. It doesn't count.
Exactly. Exactly.
Pay attention.
Yeah. So, but also I get to use that on them as well too. So if I see them out in public, sometimes I'll sneak up on them and say,
that makes it even more fun, I'm sure.
It
That's
does.
just a nice bonus of them coming to you.
Yeah. So, but anyway, yellow, that's just where you should always be. Honestly, if you're in public or in any place where there's going to be public, you need to be in yellow. You need to be paying attention. Mm-hmm. And then you have orange, and orange is like you see something that is a possible threat. Okay. You walk out of Walmart or Target or wherever, and you see some sketchy looking dude in a sketchy looking van, and you make a plan. Say, okay, well, I'm just going to avoid that situation and go around him, maybe. If I'm parked on the other side.
So
yeah, exactly.
We know what that's called.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then red would be that place where you are completely and totally in the situation. And it could be verbally and it could be physical. But if you're involved in that situation and in that self-defense situation, that is condition red.
Okay.
The last one would be condition black, and that is that freeze. You hear fight, flight, or freeze. Condition black is the freeze. Unfortunately, I can't count how many times I have seen a surveillance video of some young person, male, female, whatever, and they're standing in a store, and somebody walks up to them, and just you see them stiffen, and they just freeze up, and then they just walk away with an abductor. And that's heartbreaking. That's absolutely heartbreaking. But what happened was they were probably in condition white, not paying attention to things that are going around you. Somebody come up, completely startled them. And what they did was they jumped straight to black. And then they're just completely frozen and then willingly walk away with someone because they just don't know what else to do.
So I guess, yeah, I know I'm not trying to simplify it. There's way more to it. But like you said, if you can see the colors, white, yellow, orange, red, and know what's going on, you have a better chance of what's the word for that? Diffusing the situation, or
absolutely
being able to overcome it.
Diffusing or right. Avoiding, either one. Right. The goal is avoidance. Right. I get people asking me all the time. I mean, I had somebody ask me tonight during this family's private lesson. They asked me, says, like, have you ever been in this situation? Have you ever had to be in a fight, had to use this stuff? Mm-hmm. And my point is, in every one of those situations, is I fought full contact. Man, I got in the ring and I did all that.
Yeah.
Because of other jobs that I have been in situations to where I could have fought. And even sometimes when I was justified to fight. But I was able to diffuse the situation and to calm the situation and talk the situation down and get out of there. So avoidance is always the number one thing. If you can possibly avoid it, I don't give a crap if you're the baddest man on the planet. Man, walk away from that if you can. Well, and that's what we try to get
really
everybody
cool
to do.
What you're doing, because I've never even considered thinking about it that way. When I think self-defense, I think people, they're trained to get away from or subdue, an abductor. But like you said,
that's definitely a part of it.
If every person does that, I mean, you're forgetting about not even doing that. So you have a much better chance if you avoid it all, like you said. Yeah. So you need to be aware of these type of things.
Yeah. I had a situation where I had a friend, and this was through a job that we had. He had gone after someone that had stolen some stuff. Mm-hmm. And these two guys come out. They were threatening to kill him, threatening all kinds of stuff. I pull up right behind him. I get out. I come around, and I start to diffuse the situation immediately as soon as I realized what was going on. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to calm everybody down so I could get him back in my vehicle and we could leave. So yeah, I mean, that's super important. Now, come to find out, those guys were convicted felons from another state. Yeah, you don't want to get messed up with all that.
But you never know who that person is. So,
exactly.
I mean, like you said, you're better off to learn these steps to be able to avoid. You were saying avoid, right?
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge part. And I think, like you said, maybe your platform, maybe your videos, for anybody that's not aware of that stuff, sounds like a good place to at least check it out, get a basic understanding.
Yeah, a lot of our stuff, especially our podcast, really, really is talking about a lot of the middle stuff that you do. Mm-hmm. Or just the stuff that you can do to avoid. I mean, sometimes we talk about home defense. We just been working on a series on home defense. And talking about setting your home up where it's less likely to get broken into. A lot of it's just talking about your
fresh on the plate. Like, if you're okay with it, I enjoy this. So, like, give us some of the stuff you're talking about with the home stuff right now, if that's something that's fresh.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine too. So really, it's just setting your home up in a way where it's less likely for somebody to break into. Having motion lights. Motion detecting lights on the outside of your house. And you can, because criminals are going to want to avoid a house that's very well lit up. Mm-hmm. And I say this all the time. I mean, this is a big one. I feel like I hit on a lot, but not many people have heard it. If you go to your front door and go to the strike plate, then on your front door, where your deadbolt especially goes into, pull those screws out. They're like a half an inch long. Okay. Instead of those, take a 3 or 4 inch long wood screw and drill those into those same holes. The difference between everybody talks about, like, no, I got this big heavy door. Your big heavy door is not going to do anything. It's not the door itself. It's the door frame in most cases. And most of the time there's a little 1/2 inch screw in that strike plate, and that's going to bust right out. So somebody's not kicking through your door. Yeah. So by taking that 3 or 4 inch wood screw and putting that in there, it drills all the way into the frame of your house. So now you take a door that would kick in with just simple one kick and make it, 7, 10 or more kicks to get in.
Give anybody in the house more time to do things, whatever they're going to do.
So that's like 2 very, very simple points right there.
I like it. Yeah, you've got yourself a cool platform. People there is a need for that. So I mean, you found something that there's no way people can say these things can't assist them in some way. I guess would be the best way to say it.
Yeah.
So who do you do the channel with?
So primarily it is my daughter Kylie. She's 15. She's really kind of not quite as much anymore. We kind of backed off of it a little bit, but she was mainly the big face of our TikTok channel because she did a lot of stuff for kids. So a lot of the stuff where we're talking about things for kids, she's the one doing a lot of the talking, a lot of the teaching.
Yeah.
She teaches kids martial arts classes on a regular basis anyway, so it's just a natural fit. And then a girl young woman that helps us out as well. She's an employee of mine. Her name is Jada. She teaches a lot for women and kids as well. And then we have Gentry also, who helps especially with the women when it comes to self-defense stuff. So
yeah, so you built yourself your little team already, and you're out there making changes, making things better. That's awesome. I appreciate hearing that you're out there doing that for people. That's a good story. What have you had the most fun with thus far through your couple of years that you've been doing this? What has been the most fun part of it? I mean, I guess, do you enjoy the videos, or is it more like the live in-person training stuff that you enjoy?
Oh, okay. Definitely the live in-person training. I enjoy the videos. I think a lot of that got started. A lot of the video stuff we've been teaching in person for years. I've been doing that since about 2005. But like getting on video and doing a lot of stuff video, that really came about really when COVID came around, because we had to do something, so we really pushed it out there and started teaching stuff on YouTube and the podcast and everything else.
I mean, I guess, if it wasn't a good time, obviously, but if you look at the opportunities it brought with it, maybe, you can find the positives in things, I guess.
Right.
You dig hard enough.
Yeah, I try my best to find the positives in everything.
It's a good outlook to have. Yeah, definitely. So we were talking about kind of like small talk stuff, and you just had mentioned how like you're so tied up with this. So, I mean, you're so busy now that, I mean, you dedicate a lot of time to this, I'm sure, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't keep up with my hours, and I don't really want to keep up with my hours, but I love it. I think that my wife and I were actually driving toward the beach one day, and we were talking about business and stuff like that. And there was a podcast that a guy said in your business, always choose impact over income. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about that. I said, yeah, I feel like we definitely have chosen impact over income. I love working with people. I love impacting people's lives. And that's why, everything we do is impact. It's because we like the goal is to help people. And, and we have, through the years of doing this, now almost 20 years of teaching, you asked me what the favorite part is. The favorite part is always the difference that we've been able to make in someone's life.
Yeah. Do you get to, I mean, I'm guessing you do, because, I'm sure there are people that say you help them, you save them, but do you get to hear those stories where, they put into use things that you guys have worked on together?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I had a lady, she was a student of mine for quite some time. And she was actually in a Walmart, and she had someone following her around, and she had to deal with that situation. And thank God that never went physical.
Right.
But like, that was one of those things where she said, I never would have noticed him. If I hadn't been training with you, I never would have noticed him. I would have known this was going on,
That's
all
awesome.
this stuff. I wouldn't have known what to do, where to go, and all this kind of stuff to kind of be able to get to my vehicle safely. And then we've had people like, it's actually, as a guy is an instructor with me. When he's been with me since he was like 6 years old, and now he's an adult, and it blows my mind. But he was bullied when he was a kid.
Okay.
And he had to deal with some situations where he ended up having to get into a fight with some, a couple of guys, because he had allowed them to bully him for so long. And he had to finally stand up to him. And when he did, it went physical. And I think he had about 2 or 3 fights, but after that point, nobody ever bothered him again.
I mean, it's tough. That's not the route you want to see things go, but I mean,
no, absolutely.
People. I mean,
that's if it's going to come to it, at least the fact I've given him the tools to be able to protect himself in those situations.
Right. I mean, you're benefiting them and their families. So, I mean, what you're doing is awesome. And, I hate to say this, but like, you can't jump into that and be making hand over fist money. So, I mean, you started because you wanted to help. I've
been doing this forever. Yeah, this is not an industry that people get into to make a tremendous amount of money. But it is an industry that you can get into to change lives. The one that kind of stuck to my the most was a young girl actually disarmed another young girl that had a knife.
Oh my goodness!
And
you don't want to hear that stuff, but that's great.
You don't. But like, she's a former student, man. They hadn't been with me in probably about a year. And the mom come up to me, and it's not been just a couple of months ago. The mom come up to me, and she just broke down into tears, and she says, "I just want to thank God. I mean, I want to thank you that you have been there, because, she said, I just did what he told me. And when this other girl had a knife, man, she was able to disarm her and get that knife away and take control of the situation."
No, I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like, even what you said here tonight, like, thinking about the colors and the situations, I mean, even just that information alone, it can change a lot of people's outlook when they're out there. And, that alone might make a difference to somebody. We might not have a lot of listeners on the show, but like, for your platform and like where you say that, like, those things stick with people,
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
So it's a good way to, hey, this is where I got it. Go back to the platform, anything you want. Well, hey, I mean, that's a pretty cool story. I'm glad you came on in here and shared that with us.
Yeah, this podcast is actually the first time I've told that story about the girl. I hadn't told that to anybody yet.
Great stories. I mean, that, like you said, you and your family have to just enjoy that, knowing that you're making a difference like that. That's big. I commend you, sir. I mean, that's big of you. Having fun doing it too. That's what's important as well. All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Getting to see the benefits. Well, cool. So you and I can talk now about, go ahead and tell us all, like, your, anybody listening, like, one more time. It's going to be everywhere, obviously, but your platforms, where you're at, where they can find you, and then we'll go on to other things.
Yeah, we're Impact Defense on YouTube, Impact Defense on Facebook, Impact Defense on TikTok, although we don't post there as much as we used to. Trying to get back into it, but
platforms makes it tough, doesn't it?
It does. It really, really does. Yeah. One of the things that we're trying to do more of now is really focusing in on YouTube, and then taking a lot of that content that we're doing on YouTube and kind of dividing it out to some other platforms as well.
Right.
It's making it a little more manageable.
So we kind of left it, but we talked about your congratulations for your 100 episodes. So tell us about that. Like, what kind of routine have you gotten into with your podcast? Is that something you do weekly just so you can stay in the habit of it?
Yeah, it's a weekly podcast, and we'll get some different guests on here now and then. Most of the time, it's just us sitting down talking. It's me and Jada and Kylie for the most part. Gentry has become a very, very regular guest. And then we are talking about everything from, we've talked about abduction prevention. We've talked about how people will try to groom kids online and take them, stuff like that. I know, it really is. We talked about active shooters. We've talked about just all kinds of things. And a lot of ways, it's things that you can do to kind of mentally prepare if a kind of situation arises. So
yeah, like you said, you can prepare for the generalized situation, but like those situations like that are out of left field, like, all you can do is be ready, like you're teaching people, because you're not going to be ready for that scenario. There's some weird things out there.
Absolutely. The biggest thing is we try to teach people to not be an easy target. I mean, if we can live your life in a way where you are not an easy target, then people are going to try to choose someone else.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because like you said, that if that's what they're out for, they're going to find their target. It just, if you do what you can, it wouldn't be you.
Yeah.
I say too much. I'm going to cut that out.
I do too. I understand, dude.
So, we'll kind of move away from that. So we talked about how you have your work and your family shares in that with you. So we can talk family stuff too. Cause I got that. I had a couple of situations the other night that made me, feel like my ears were getting up there, but I'm happy to chat with you and maybe I can hear some of yours. So I'll give you my examples and see what you got. I felt like an old man. So like we said, they're old man things, numerous things, but you might be most understanding of old man jeans. Like I have my one pair of old man jeans that I wear outside to do everything because they're like the perfect grass cutting, the perfect trimming. They get dirty, you just wipe the dirt on them, throw them in the washer when you get in. So another old man thing that I did the other day, I told my kids they had to eat more dinner. I said it like 3 times. I'm like, no more snacks. You need to eat more dinner. Eat more dinner. Like, and I was thinking about it. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, that right there is an old man thing. Telling the damn kids to eat more dinner. Like, I remember like if that would have been said to me when I was a kid, I would have been, I would have thought the same thing. Like, screw you, Dad. You know? So talking about old man things, is there anything that like us chatting about that right now stands out to you as like something that you do that you would say is a quote old man thing?
Oh, I have
another funny thing that I did just to help your brain start working. I was in the pantry and I walked into the pantry. It was a Saturday night. We had had a few drinks, watching football, stuff like that. And I walked into the pantry and my daughter was in there and I started looking at the snacks and I looked over at her. Fancy seeing you here. I must have been in there all night. I was making small talk in the pantry. So old man.
The dad jokes, man, they never stop.
Funny thing about just like the jeans. I was telling a story about my old man jeans that I wore to the movie theater that night because they were comfortable. And I found myself wiping the popcorn butter on the jeans. Like, why would you wipe stuff on your jeans? But when they're like the outside jeans, you don't even care. You just wipe the dirt there and it's good.
I do that all the time, much to the dislike of my wife. But yeah.
So if you don't have a top of your head old man thing, I can tell you that one of the things you do is an old man thing. I think watching the show Psych probably counts as an old man thing. Yeah,
but my 15-year-old daughter loves that show too. That is,
I don't know what that show is. What show is?
Are you serious? Okay,
yeah.
So Psych is it was like early 2000. I think it came out in like 2005, 6, somewhere in that range.
Okay, I do know it then. It's like a long running series.
Yeah. It ran for 8 seasons. But it's the guy who pretends to be a psychic to help out the police department.
I do vaguely remember that.
It's essentially a retelling of Sherlock Holmes.
Okay.
It is, it's just like Monk is Sherlock Holmes, Psych is Sherlock Holmes.
I remember the show, and now that you say that, I have a show that is a lot like that. So if you ever start watching another show, one that you could watch is called Resident Alien. Have you ever heard of that?
I have not.
Okay, so it's a show on Sci-Fi Channel,
and
I don't usually watch the Sci-Fi Channel, but I just happened to see this show, and I watched it. And the premise of the show is it's an alien crashes on Earth, and he's stuck on Earth, so he has to like act like a human. So he becomes a human at like 40 years old, and he has to like learn everything.
Okay.
And it like the first episode, I remember he goes to a bar on accident and he gets drunk, and he's an alien, and it's an alien getting drunk, and it's the funniest like 2 minutes of TV that I've watched because I remember like the first time I got real drunk like that. That's probably what it felt like. There's an alien getting drunk that's a human. So anyway, I mean, it's just it's a comedy sci-fi type show. I told some of my other buddies that were on here about it, but it reminds me of Psych, and it is a funny show. So
gotcha.
If anybody watches, I want to have somebody that watches the show come on here and talk about it, because my brother and I we're we're gonna come on and talk about that TV series. We watched the first season, but we didn't get to the second season yet.
Gotcha. Yeah, I have a tendency when I really like a show to watch everything up to the last season and never watch the last season.
Leave it a mystery.
I don't know. And finally, with my daughter, she got into psych and she was wanting to watch it. My wife and we sat down as a family. I finally got to watch the last season, but man, we've watched that thing. I think we've watched it through like 3 times at this point.
There's got to be a lot of episodes, aren't there? How many seasons is it?
It's like 120 some episodes. I just heard somebody say it the other day. It's like 120 some.
Gosh.
So, yeah, I know.
So, we always go food on the show. Food is a big topic. Do you consider yourself a cook?
I can cook. I don't know.
Okay, see, so you're the perfect for this right here then. So if you're like this, I know your style. You can cook some things, but you're not.
Yeah.
But so like those some things, I'm sure you have one of them that you're really good at and you make it all the time. What's something that you would consider yourself like an expert?
I love grilling. I'm
getting into that.
Go back to the old man thing, dude. I love my grill. Last year, I think it was, or year before last, my wife got me a new gas grill for Father's Day, and I cook on that thing all the time. I love it.
I'm pretty sure, doing the podcast, I'm sure this happens to you too, and I apologize to anybody that listens that hears this, but I forget what I say and what I don't say. Does that happen
all the time?
Okay.
All the time. Yeah.
So I might have said this, but we're talking about grilling, so I'm not really a big griller. I never have been. I have friends that love grilling, love doing briskets, smokers, green eggs.
I hadn't got into smokers yet, but
I haven't either. But I finally got myself beginning of the year. I got myself a flat top, like a gas griddle, whatever they call them, Blackstone.
Yep.
And the other day I was out there watching my steak cook, and I actually sat there and I got down to the level of it. And I watched it cook, and it changed. Maybe that's why people love it so much. Because I'll tell you what, I enjoyed like those 5 minutes watching the steak change.
Yeah, I love to grill steaks, chicken. I hadn't really got into smoking yet, but I've thought about it. I keep looking at it going.
Process though. So grilling, you get those few minutes, you get to look at the steak, and that tastes good. But smoking, that's what 12 hours, could be 8 hours, 16 hours. It's long though.
Yeah, somebody is my brother and another really good friend of ours. We all went camping, and my buddy brought his smoker, and he put, and it was awesome. And he put like a pork tenderloin on there, and it was absolutely awesome. But it took forever.
Yes. I just don't have the patience for something like that.
That's my problem. That is my problem is patience. Mm-hmm. I'm not known as a patient person.
I'm not. So do you find ways to work on your patience with everything you're doing, patience ties into it. So is it something you have to teach yourself?
I work with children. So I do not consider myself a patient person at all, but other than just like self-defense, we have like regular martial arts classes that we teach. And we've got some classes of like 3 to 6 year olds. And I've had some parents sometimes look at me and go like, you have the patience of a saint. I cannot believe how patient you are. And I was like, it's because you didn't know what was going on in my mind at the moment.
So I don't know. You only have one daughter.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have more than a few kids, but what I notice about the kids is they don't listen at all at home. They're pretty good, like in public and at school. But what is it with kids when they just, they don't listen to their parents?
That was my daughter, growing up, especially younger years. She was my mother looked at me and said, I hope you grow up and have a kid just like you. And I did. Very strong-willed. She would, as a little kid, she would look me straight in the eye and just challenge me. Yeah. She's very, very stubborn, and love her to death, but man, she's just like me.
Well, she is like you. Now she's doing the stuff that you do too.
Yeah. But it drives me crazy, man.
It's kind of cool to spend time with them, like while you're doing your work stuff too, though, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, that is one really, really awesome thing about having her so involved in what we do is that she's here. You know, I mean, we butt heads at times. But never in front of anybody, you know?
Right.
So
My oldest, he's become like my IT support. And we were out in the garage the other night trying to set up my, all my stuff. And because, the truth of it is, so here, before we go here, you've done it for 100 episodes. Like your audio and everything. I listen to your shows. It sounds good.
Well, thank you. We've tried really hard.
How long did it take you to get all that stuff right? Because, here I am at 15, 20, and it's still all over the place.
Yeah. If you go back to our first 15, it was terrible. Especially like the first 5, we were just using the mic that was the phone camera. We just used a phone camera and just sat down and recorded us talking. And it was just really echoey and horrible. And then it was just like a slow, steady progression through everything. Just a little bit of time. We got just a little bit of money. And I spent everything we got and a little more on better equipment. And that was just the way we rolled through.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like as a little bit of money came in, I took that, put a little more with it and got something better until finally we ended up with like the Rodecaster Pro setup.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, is
it all like your work? You do it all at the one spot?
Yeah. I'm there right now. This is
your office, your studio, your training center, all that. Cool.
Yep. I would love to have a dedicated room just for podcasting and videos like that, but we don't have the funds for that.
No. But yeah, with like I was saying, he was the IT support guy, so we filmed ourselves out there, and he started telling me stories about school, and I told him like I'm gonna put this out as an episode. Like I feel like he can get his little audience with like kids that watch it and enjoy his stories, and if not, it's still fun to do. That's why at this point, I'm just going to keep putting them out because, it's my 1 hour car ride where I get to learn something about, I learned my colors of self-defense today. I learned, it's great. Every episode I learn something new,
Yeah, it's really cool. Even when I'm doing it with the same people that we normally do, it's just fun to sit there and have a conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you guys get to do it there live in person because that's the challenge I've been having is as much fun as this it is, we can get on here and I can talk to people that have platforms and want to talk about certain things. But the other thing I want to do when I did this is have friends on, and it's fun, but like the connections and the, everything, it makes it so hard to do it right where you just want to come have fun with all the, if there's 4 or 5 different people in the room and you have the delays and you have the noise and the connection issues, it's like, I just love to have a studio where I can do all this in one place,
Yeah. If you do anything where you can have 2 people sitting down, it's a lot of fun. I had like, when I got to fighting in some of the bigger fights, my Brazilian jiu-jitsu instructor, I had him come in, for an episode and what turned into 2 episodes. Cause we basically just laughed and talked for a couple of hours and said, okay, we're going to take these, we're going to trim them down and we're going to have 2 episodes out of them. And that's been, when it's friends, it's always so much fun. I love doing it with people I don't know as well, because you get to learn stuff. When it's something special about when it was friends, because when it's friends, you guys get to tell stories and just riff and just have a fun time that way, And
it's still like that because that's the thing. Like I'm gonna try to bring them on, with guests that they're interested in.
Yeah,
and eventually, I want once we have some audience members and we have some people that have topics like. Anybody can come on and talk about a topic because that's what this show is. Like, we want to come on here. We want to learn about something new, have fun doing it. So hopefully, community members can be those people. We just have to, right now, I'm just trying to get the content out there to build the following and build the different, opportunities from the channel. It's a fun setting. It's like, it's that commute setting. Everybody wants that show they can listen to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell people, I've had some other people ask me about starting a podcast and stuff. And I told them, I said, if you don't enjoy sitting down and doing it, don't do it because it may not hit, I mean, ours has been like, we'll grow for a little bit and we'll just kind of plateau. We'll grow for a little bit and then we'll plateau. And it's just been, there's times when if I look at the numbers too much, it gets frustrating.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. But, you can't, there's things you can focus on. There's things you can't because there's just too much to do.
But if I just focus on the journey of that, and I'm not really good at focusing on the journey kind of person, but if I focus on the journey of the podcast itself, it's like, that's cool. I got to talk to this dude that I never would have been able to talk to, you know, had it not been doing a podcast.
Yeah, that's the same here, man. I've gotten I feel in the end, like I'm named my last episode a graduate school episode. We talked about the history of American income tax. And there's shit on that episode that I would have never even thought was true. And he broke it down to like I told him, like, tell me like I'm a fifth grader. And he taught me American tax history like I was a fifth grader. And it's great. That episode's coming out tomorrow.
Okay.
But, you know, that's eventually, and like even here, I know we didn't touch on it as much and we're off topic now, but like I will always go back to what you taught me about white, yellow, orange, red, you know, like that. Those are the things that stick when you do these type of things.
Yeah.
And I'll tell my wife, I'll tell the kids, we'll get them all prepared for that. Maybe we'll let them watch a few videos, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a cool place. I mean, the best part about it is you get to get on here. You know, we found each other, we find other people, talk, have fun, bullshit, on to the next one. And that's, unfortunately, you know, you have to be nice to everyone, but there can always be that one or two that's just a dud. And you're just like, you know, I'll try to just keep that one in the background, but hey, whatever. It was worth
in 100 episodes, I think I have, when I've done some interviews, like I said, most of it's just been us, but there's been a couple, I guess, maybe just one that I walked away going like, I don't think I want them back on.
Yeah.
For the most part, it's like, for the most part, it's been like, hey, that's been a lot of fun. I think I want to have this person back on our podcast, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you know, and I hate to say this, but it's almost like, you know, as we're doing all those things and we're trying to get these people to come on the show, like during those communications, you find a little bit about them too, or you can kind of go into it with like okay, I think this is what's going to happen, but we'll see, you know?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. So what else? What about music? What kind of music you play at the gym there when you got everything going on? You got what's your go-to?
I don't generally have control of the music much.
Oh, yeah. Me too. Okay, so yeah, we're in the same boat.
So apparently, you know, here with all the people in and everything else, I learned that I'm still stuck in the 90s.
Yeah.
So I still like a lot of 90s music and stuff like that. You know, it's funny, when I was a kid, going back to your old man stuff, I guess that would be one of the big things. Because that's when I was a kid, I was like, I'm not going to be one of those dudes, especially when I was a young adult. When I was a young adult, I was like, I'm not going to be one of those guys who grows up and just still listens to the music of his youth. Yeah. And here I am, I listen to, like late 90s music.
To a lot of the 80s. I didn't even grow up in the 80s, and I still like the 80s.
Yeah.
I listened to the 80s. I listened to some 90s. I grew up in like the 2000s, so like I always go back to the 2000s songs.
Yeah.
You know? And even now, like I don't think they're that bad, but the kids are like, "What the hell is this?"
I know. Yeah.
It doesn't sound much different. Like
so, I will throw a couple things on the playlist for the school here, and I'll get a comment every now and then, like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
It's like, this is MC Hammer, and you will respect him. Okay.
I heard "Hey Macarena" the other night. I hadn't heard that one in a long time.
Oh yeah.
My kid, they were doing it in school or something. My kindergartner came home. He kind of knew the Macarena. I'm like, where the hell did you pick this one up? I haven't seen that in 15, 20 years. Oh man. So do you still watch? I mean, you're big into mixed martial arts. Do you still watch like UFC and stuff?
So I watched UFC for a very, very long time. You know, back when they were doing like, it first started out with like one show a year, and it was just doing 2 shows a year, then 4 shows a year, then 6 shows a year, and I'm keeping up with it through all this.
How many are they at now? Like, they still have numbers.
I kept up with it probably until they were doing about a show a month, and I was like, all right, this month they're UFC, blah blah. But then once it got past that point where it's like it's too much to keep up with anymore.
Yep.
And it's just, and everybody loves it, and it's great. I'm glad it's really taken off. These guys are actually making really good money at this point in time. That's awesome. I love it for them. My problem is living a very busy life. I can't keep up with it. No. And I'll catch a fight every now and then, but I don't know any of the guys anymore, hardly.
Well, it sucks. But like as I've gotten older, you start losing touch with things like that. Like, you know, it's harder to follow teams, and like you said, harder to follow UFC, but harder to follow TV series. You don't see movies like when they come out. Like the kids just take they take the cake, they get whatever they want. We just kind of get what's left.
I'm trying to hold on to still watch baseball, but like outside of that, that's about all I can keep up with anymore.
Good for you. Good for you.
I don't get much of it, but you know.
Who's your team in baseball?
The Yankees.
Oh, so at least you have a good team.
Yeah.
I was big into baseball. My team's the Pirates. So as you can imagine, it doesn't give you much to root for anymore. You know, you have your 1 year. We had our 1 year, like what, 10 years ago, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
We made the playoffs and we lost in our 1 game playoff, and that was it. maybe we made the first round. I don't know, but you know, that was it. But like the Yankees, Red Sox, Dodgers, those teams, they keep getting there, you know, every few years. So that's good. Yeah,
my grandfather was a huge Yankees fan, big into baseball, stuff like that. That's kind of where I just fell in love with watching baseball, playing baseball growing up. And then, I lost connection to a lot of that for years. And then I kept telling my wife, I said, at some point in time, when I have a little more time, I'm going to get that MLB network because I want to watch baseball again. And I kept saying that. And finally, 1 year, I was just like, screw it. I'm just going to watch baseball.
Yep. I just coached, I didn't plan on coaching, but they needed a
Most people that tell me they're coaching something hasn't planned on coaching. So
5, 6 years old, you know, it's always that email. We need one more coach. We have 56 players and only 4 coaches. We need one more. I'll assistant coach if you need me. Oh, we don't need assistants. All right. But so I coached a 5, 6 year old team.
I thought that would be fun, honestly.
Okay, so here's how I'll phrase it to you. I coached 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, like through the years. I've coached basketball teams in those ages. Okay. Wasn't bad. 5th and 6th, you know, all right. It was tough. But once they got to 7th, 8th, 9th, it was pretty good. And the best part about it was, you know, I used to play basketball and stuff, and I enjoy it. So I used to play against the 9th graders. In 9th grade, I can still win pretty much. You know, they're good, but I can still beat them. Once they get to like 10th, 11th, 12th, they're probably going to kick my ass. So that was a good age. Like they picked it up. They did pretty good. Of course, when you get to the game, nobody knows anything. I don't know what that is, but that's my coaching, I guess. But so that was good. But now I went back down with my younger one. I did 3, 4-year-old baseball last year. I helped out and didn't change much this year. 5, 6-year-old baseball. I know it's said all the time. I know it's a joke and everybody says it, but it's herding cats, and there's nothing else that is exactly right like that. It's herding cats. They're running all over the place. They're playing in the dirt. They're not listening. They don't do anything you teach them to do in practice. They do perfect in the game. It's one of the oddest things I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to tell myself I will not coach 5, 6-year-old T-ball again. But deep down, I know that I have another one coming through the ranks, and I probably will. We'll see what happens. But I give you credit for that, though, teaching the kids and things. I mean, it's got to be tough, but you're doing it, and you get.
It's fun, though. I mean, it gets aggravating at times, but it is fun.
Yeah. What's the youngest person that came through your training that ended up taking you down and kind of surprising you, kicked your butt? Anybody get you in like a good chokehold or anything?
I've had a few that I refused. I think I'd let something break before I did it through the years. It's like, no. I got this guy. He started me when he was a kid as well. He's now moved away. He's a police officer now. He's huge. Okay. I mean, he's like, I don't know. He's like 6'2", 6'3", and bigger than you. 275 or something like that. Yeah. And, I'm like 5'9". But I know he had moved away for a little bit. He came back and we were sparring, and I thought, man, he's really stayed with it. But now he's got size with him. Yeah. And he caught me with a hook, man. It just dropped me. And I went down and grabbed his legs and started trying to take him down. He never knew that he dropped me. He had no earthly idea. Because I just grabbed
going to the ground trying to get.
Yeah. I've learned how to just fake that at that point in time. So at least I don't think
good.
that.
Good. Kept your composure.
I do my best to kind of keep safe face as much as possible in those situations.
That's good. That's good. Definitely. I just had a funny story that I was going to say. I'm going to have to pause here and think about what the hell was I going to tell you. We're talking about
Speaking of old man stuff.
It was something. It was, that's, my mind does that. I'll cut this out. Sorry. But that's why I called it Rabbit Holes, because I was thinking, like, man, I can't stay focused. I can't remember where we're at. So we'll just call it Rabbit Holes, because we're always going to go up, down, around, back. You know, we end up back where we're going, but oh well, I blanked. But anyway,
I was diagnosed with adult ADD, and
oh really?
The doctor was like, "Hey man, I can get you on some Adderall or something." I was like, "No, I'm good." But now there are days where I'm like, "Oh, maybe Adderall's a decent thing," because I mean I can't focus on crap.
Okay, so I remember where it was. I was going to touch. You told me your height. You're 5'9", so I'm 5'9" too.
Okay.
What's your driver's license say?
Now it says 5'9".
Your driver's license, don't you? You write down how tall you are.
Yeah, now it says 5'9".
Okay. Mine says 5'9" too, but I'll tell you, like all through like high school and in my 20s, I always claimed I was 5'10". I guess I thought I was, but I was never 5'10". So like my driver's license said 5'10", and I was 5'9". And then another embarrassing thing I found out about myself is I didn't even find this out until recently. I always wore like a size 10.5 or 11 shoe. I never like tried shoes on. I always just ordered 10.5 or 11, you know? Well, now come to find out, I kind of wear a 10 because I can almost fit like a 9.5. So I'm like a 10.
Oh, wow.
All the time I'm wearing the wrong shoe size too.
Now, I wear a size 14 4E. So I mean, I'm short and like huge feet.
So you know that then, because that's something you have to get special.
Yeah, that's hard to find. I know I was at a shoe store not that long ago actually, and I was on an aisle and I pulled down some 14s and I was trying them on, and I walked around to see if I thought I might get these, because you don't have many choices when you wear a size 14 4E.
Triple E. I don't even know where you buy something like that.
You can't find them very often. So I go around another aisle looking to see if I could find some. Well, there's this lady come down the aisle that I was just on, and she goes, "My gosh, who in the world wears a 14 4E?" And I thought, I'm not even going back over there now.
Yeah, just walk around a little bit till she's out of there.
Yeah. You were talking about the license. Actually, mine was the opposite. I hit a big growth spurt after I turned 15.
Okay.
So I was 5'4" when I got my permit.
Oh wow!
So I was like 25 or 26 or something like that. Finally, when I went back and my license still said 5'4". Yeah. So when I got my license renewed, I was like, we probably need to change this, because I'm no longer a 5'4".
Yeah. Were you small through like middle school and like beginning of high school? Because I was too. I didn't grow until probably, I think, like junior, senior year. Same thing. I shot up like that. But like now, my mom had worked in the middle school, and even my kids. But like, I remember going to the middle school, and all the 7th and 8th graders were taller than me. I was like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
I'm an adult. Every middle schooler.
Yeah, man. I get that in here, all the time. Yeah, and I'm working with kids, and like some of these kids come in, I'm looking at them. They're like, I'm looking them in the eye, and I'm like, how old are you? Or what grade are you in? It's like, I'm in 8th grade. I was like,
can't believe it, man.
I don't like you.
Things have changed.
Yeah.
With that being said, I mean, we're going to wrap it up here, because I like to keep all the episodes around an hour or so, and we're coming up on that. Before we go, Brian, I want to thank you. I had a great time on here with you tonight.
Oh, thank you. And, yes, sir.
Like I said, there's things that stick with you. So that's why I love, my show, what I'm doing, bringing you on here tonight, getting to talk about self-defense, because there's parts of it that'll stick. There's parts of it maybe that they'll go watch your videos. I don't think anybody around me is close to you, but maybe somebody is that saw the video. But if nothing else, like, it's out there to help. That's
absolutely.
So go ahead and tell everybody one more time, like, where they find you. Give us a little bit of that, and then I'll send us out here, and then just stick back. We'll talk a little bit once I get the recording edited here.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, we're pretty much Impact Defense on everything. We have Impact Defense Podcast, Impact Defense on YouTube, Impact Defense on Facebook, Impact Defense on TikTok. So And
Cool.
Impact Defense on Instagram as well.
Brian Moretz with Impact Defense. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
All of our audience that listened through to this episode, whether they're from other parties that came to the show or whether, Brian's parties come to the show to watch, please stick around because that's what we're doing here on the platform. It's kind of whatever we want it to be. I'll take community suggestions. We'll talk to the community. We'll bring on people with the topics they want to hear. We're here to have fun. Tomorrow, a graduate, well, you're not going to hear it like this, but what is today? Today's November 10th. We're going to have tax history, income tax history. Great topic. We've got self-defense we're going to have coming up. We're going to have an episode with my son. We're going to have the armed fisherman. We're talking pop culture tomorrow. So there's nothing we can't talk about here, right? We learned self-defense tonight. So Brian, thank you very much. Visit him at Impact Defense. And, we look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Thanks again. See you, Brian.
See you. Thank you.
Hold my tongue never. I say what I feel. Look you in the eye. Never ran, never will. Hold my own destiny. Both hands in the wheel. In the darkness, they found light. So at the top of your lungs, scream, this ain't life. So when they move left, you move right. You move right. Hold my tongue never. I say what I feel. Look you in the eye. Never ran, never will.